Bucket lists are great and all that. Swim with manatees, drive the Pacific Highway, surf in Hawaii, but come on, we're runners, we need more. How about bucket list marathons? Now we're talking. That's more rockstar. 10 ultimate marathon experiences to aim for in our lives, and share yours in the comments. So let's get started, shall we? I'm actually really excited about this one because when we think about bucket list marathons, they're the kind of experiences that maybe are once in a lifetime, or certainly something that you'll remember forever. And I'm going to speak from the heart on this video, but what I'm also going to do is give myself a timer on my phone so that I'm going to try and stick to under 1 minute each, but again, from the heart. Now, before we start, did you know that Mary and I run a marathon class twice a year to get anyone that wants to run a marathon to the start line in the best shape possible? We're in class 2 at the moment, it's just drawing to a close, and class 3 sign up for a spring 2025 marathon is open, and it will be open until the end of December. So the details are in the description. Get signed up, let's have you in class 3, it's always a ride. Alright, let's start with number 1. Okay, we ready? When you think of wonders of the world, not even in terms of marathons, you might think of the Great Wall of China. Well, it might also surprise you to know that there is a marathon that has you running on some, not all, I mean it's a bloody long wall, but on some of the Great Wall. It's run in April 2025, I think the 20th of April, and it is a run that is not flat, let's just say. You are going up steps, down steps, there are segments on the wall, there are segments off the wall, but no matter where you are, whether you're on the wall or off the wall, the beauty of this race is that it's going to give you that overall feel, overall vibe, and be quite a special experience. The Great Wall was originally 13,000 miles long, which is 21,000 kilometers. I mean, it's now down to 5,500 miles, which is 8,850 kilometers, but nonetheless, it is one of the wonders of the world. It can be seen from space, and you can run a marathon on it. It's about 85 miles outside of Beijing, and it's something 100% Mary and I will be doing. Then at number 2, when we talk about capital cities and we talk about steeped in rich history, you can't get a capital city with much more history than Rome. All roads lead there, I think. But the Rome Marathon is very special because the amount of sites you're going to run past. The Colosseum, the Pantheon, the Spanish Steps, the Stadio Olimpico, the place where Gladiator was probably filmed. But the entire race is just one thing after the other to see that is so steeped in history that it's almost like you're running into the past. And the great thing is it's a pretty flat marathon that's run in March every year, so the temperature is also very manageable. So it could be a reasonably fast one, although I don't think you want to go fast. You're definitely going to want to take in the sights. And you can join the 30,000 other runners, so it's a pretty big marathon, and take yourself back in time and enjoy the rich history that Rome has to offer. Mary and I have visited Rome before, and it is an incredible city. 3, check this out. What if you were to run a marathon? What if you were to start in the afternoon or late evening? And what if you were to finish the marathon around midnight and it still be daylight? Has that got your interest at all? Well, the Tromso Midnight Sun Marathon would do exactly that for you. It's held on the longest day every year, June the 21st, and it's in Tromso in the north of Norway. And the beauty of running that marathon is exactly as I say. In that time of year, the sun is up for 24 hours, so it will be light when you finish at around 11, 12, 1 AM, which is a pretty cool experience in itself. And running around the streets of Tromso in northern Norway is also going to be a pretty cool experience. So it's something that we have wanted to do for a long time, and that is why Tromso Midnight Sun Marathon is on our bucket list for sure. Now let's talk about rugged beauty, nature. One marathon we definitely want to do because it's a place where we've been, but again, as I say, we've not run a marathon. It's the Great Ocean Road Marathon. It's in South Australia. It begins in a town called Lorne and finishes in a town called Apollo Bay. We've been to both, and they are two of the highlights of our trip around Australia 14 years ago. Well, that's a long time ago. But the point of the marathon is not to run fast because it's not flat. It is certainly hilly. It is certainly exposed to the elements. It's alongside the I want to say Southern Ocean. Man, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. Tasman Sea? Not really sure, but it's the south of Australia. You get to see the 12 Apostles, although actually I think there's only 8. You get to run along some of the most beautiful routes in nature, see some incredible sights, and it's run in May every year. In fact, the Great Ocean Road itself is about 243 kilometers long, but you're only running actually 44 kilometers, so just over a marathon. So you could call this one an ultra marathon, but it's something we definitely want to run. Great Ocean Road Marathon in Australia. All right, we're coming back to Southeast Asia, which is where we live, and we're going to Cambodia to run the Angkor Empire Marathon. So this marathon is situated around Angkor Wat, and if you don't know Angkor Wat, I'll share a couple of photos of Mary and I's time there, but it is a bunch of unbelievable temples with such a rich history. I mean, it's not going to be a fast time, let's put it that way, because the temperature is going to be 30 degrees or above, but it is going to be maybe one of the most beautiful marathons you've ever run, running around these temples at sunrise. It's not necessarily going to be organised. From what I hear, it's got a bit of a reputation of you just relax when you get there, it is what it is, but it's certainly something on our bucket list to run, because I cannot tell you how magical Angkor Wat felt when we were there. And if you know your Cambodian history, you'll know that it is a country that is still recovering from the brutal Khmer Rouge regime. That's actually really difficult to say, only 50 or so years ago, but it is definitely up there, a recommended marathon, and one that I think might affect people deeply. All right, who wants a bit of fun? How about the Disney Marathon Florida? Now, don't knock it until you've tried it. I'm not saying Mary and I are huge Disney fans, but we have done a Disney half marathon in Disneyland Paris, and it was one of the most fun experiences we've ever had. Just a bunch of people there for fun. You're definitely not going there to run a time. The characters are everywhere. You can stop. You run through all 4 parks like Epcot, Magical Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. Can't remember the 4th part, but you run through it and you get, look, check this out. I've got this out. You probably get one of the best medals you're ever gonna get, right? Whoa, look at that. The medals are so cool as well. So no, you're not going to go there to run a PB necessarily, and no, you're not going to go there to be taken seriously as a marathon runner, but what you are going to get is a bunch of good vibes, an absolutely stonking day full of just joy, and you're going to get a wicked medal as well. And that's why I think the Disney Marathon in Florida has got to be up there as a bucket list marathon. But be aware, it's usually run in January, it's a 4:30 AM start, and it can get down to almost freezing, like 0 degrees Celsius, so wrap up warm, but that does mean a faster time. Okay, away from man-made and back to beautiful views and nature. How about number 7 being the Big Sur Marathon in California? This is run along the Highway 1, which is the Pacific Ocean Highway, and the route is Big Sur to Carmel. What you're gonna get when you run this race, honestly, is just some of the most incredible sweeping vistas you might ever experience. Halfway through the race you cross the very famous Bixby Bridge, which I'll put a picture of Mary and I sitting at here, and it's definitely not flat. It is one to be enjoyed rather than raced. But you're going to see the Pacific Ocean, you're going to see pine trees, you're going to see hills, you're going to see all sorts of things that are going to inspire you and make you feel alive. And it usually has about 4,500 runners a year, so it is well attended as well. And that's on April the 27th, 2025. Probably not next year for us. Definitely on the bucket list. And we're coming back to Southeast Asia. This time we're going a bit further north, in fact, North Vietnam. We're going to the Ha Long Bay Marathon. Now, if you don't know anything about Ha Long Bay, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is a place of absolute beauty where there are, I think, thousands of limestone casts and islets out into the sea, and the marathon itself is run along a highway boulevard, so you get to weave your way through the water, the limestone cliffs. Think Southeast Asia, really traditional Southeast Asia. And the good thing about the Ha Long Bay Marathon is that at that time of year, the temperatures, considering it's Southeast Asia, are really reasonable, sometimes down as low as 7 degrees Celsius up to 14 degrees Celsius. So actually, it's a flat race and it's pretty runnable because of the temperature. But what I would say is, you probably don't want to go that fast. You probably want to take it all in. But Halong Bay, we've been to Vietnam, but we've never been to North, so it's definitely on our hit list. The next one is actually 17th of November 2024 at the time of making this, so very soon, but it's usually November every year. And the penultimate marathon that we would love to run is on our bucket list, and it is actually the most commented marathon in our last video on this series of non-major marathons, is Athens. Now, why would it be the most commented? Well, think about it. The marathon, in this case, the one in Athens, starts in a town called Marathon. Because if you know your history, Phidippides, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name, but legend has it that he was a soldier in the Greek army that ran from Marathon to Athens to tell news of a great victory against the Persian army, and then promptly died. So he ran a marathon, but I think actually they've worked out that he ran a lot further than 26.2 miles. But if you want to run the original, again, a bit like Rome, a bit like the Great Wall Marathon, steeped in history, then you can't do much better than the Athens Marathon, which ends in the Panathenaic Stadium. You get really wicked medals, and also it starts with Zorba's dance. But again, I would say you're not going here for a fast time, because from mile 6 for 13 miles, it's steadily uphill. So go to enjoy this one, but if you want to enjoy the original, then the Athens Marathon is the one for you. And the final one, because I actually couldn't decide which one to pick, it's going to have to be a twofer. North Pole Marathon, South Pole Marathon. These two marathons, although you're not going to see much, and although you're definitely not going to run a fast time because it's on ice with potential wind chill of -30 or 40, the South Pole Marathon is at an altitude of about 700 meters. Am I selling it? Yeah. And it's generally pretty cold. The experience in itself of having run a marathon on the North or the South Pole might just be enough for us. Prohibiting factor. It costs about $14,000 to run the North Pole Marathon. South Pole, I think, is even more expensive because you have to get a flight from Chile. So pretty prohibitive. I think less than 1,000 people have ever done the North Pole Marathon. But if the organisers are watching from either of those marathons, we're definitely in. Chuck us a, you know, we'll make a video about it. Only joking. But it is something that is definitely high on my list of must-dos. It's just, am I ever going to have the money to do's, I guess. The North Pole Marathon is run in July every year, South Pole in December. They are the northernmost and southernmost official marathons, and they've got to be on the list, surely, for no other reason that they are a North and South Pole Marathon. And here's what you do now. If you have one that you think is better than the 10 I've given you, put them in the comments. Maybe I'll make another video with 10 more bucket list marathons if this one does pretty well. If you enjoyed the video, then consider subscribing to the channel, and you're also probably going to like this video, which was the 10 best non-major marathons as I see them. And again, just opinion, share yours in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll actually see you Wednesday, because at the time you're watching this, we're running a 100-kilometer race. Oh, it hurts to even say it. See you Wednesday.